Hello class, this demo is for eye anatomy. So we have already covered ear anatomy. This is time for eye anatomy. It's a pretty short list that we have. So let's go over the structures. So eye is pretty sophisticated structure. What we find, the visual instrument that we call eye, is within the orbit. So recall, orbit is made of the orbital plates or orbital plates of the frontal bone, the zygomatic bone, the maxillary bone, the sphenoid, the ethmoid, and the lacrimal bone. We learned that already. So within that orbit, what are the different structures that you find within the orbit? You find the eyeball. Each eyeball is spherical, almost round, and it's smaller than a ping pong ball. So eyeball, and you will find the lacrimal glands, well, actually gland, not just S, eyeball and the lacrimal gland, plus the extrinsic eye muscles. All of these are within the orbit: the eyeball, the lacrimal gland, and the extrinsic eye muscles. When we say extrinsic eye muscles, we are talking about 4 rectus and 2 oblique. These are skeletal muscle. So within the eye, the eyeball shares the space within the orbit with the lacrimal gland, extrinsic eye muscles. 4 are rectus, 2 are oblique. So eyeball, when we say eyeball, basically what is the eyeball? Eyeball is a combination of 2 chambers. The posterior chamber and anterior chamber. Well, it's more complex than that, but that's what we are keeping it. Between these 2 lies the lens. Okay, so posterior to the lens is the posterior chamber, anterior to the lens is the anterior chamber. Anterior chamber is filled with what we call the aqueous humor, and the posterior chamber is filled with vitreous humor. Okay, so posterior chamber, anterior chamber, one with aqueous humor, one is vitreous humor. So basically, this is what eyeball is made of. It's a round ball-like structure, which is made of 2 chambers. Chambers are not empty chambers. They are filled with a lighter, thinner aqueous humor, and the posterior chamber is filled with a thicker vitreous humor, almost gel-like vitreous humor, which gives the eyeball its shape. And as we learned, the eyeball shares the space within orbit with the extrinsic eye muscles and the lacrimal gland. Okay, now the eyeball itself, wall, basically if we cut a section through the eye, cut the eyeball into 2 halves, you'll find that and let's say we remove all this fluid from the chamber, you'll see that the eyeball wall is made of 3 layers. The layers are outer fibrous tunic, middle vascular tunic, and inner neural tunic. This is what the eyeball wall is made of. Okay. Now the fibrous tunic has different parts. The vascular tunic has different parts. the neural tunic has different parts. So in association with one another or separately, these three tunics, these three layers give rise to some other structures that we'll be studying. But all structures that we'll be studying, like the iris, the ciliary body, the ora serrata, blah, 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 the macula lutea fovea, basically the cornea, basically these are part of either fibrous tunic or vascular tunic or neural tunic. Some are combination of two. Okay, keeping this in mind, let's start with the accessory structure. Again, can you guess which celebrity eye this is? If you can, at the end, I'll give you the name. So accessory structure of the eye. For our list, we have eyelash, lacrimal gland, lacrimal sac, and conjunctiva. Okay, so I don't have to tell you which one is eyelash. Lacrimal gland, basically, this is the skin. If you remove the skin, the lacrimal gland will be here. We'll look at that in a second. Okay, conjunctiva. What is conjunctiva? Basically, let's just look at this. When you look at the eye, what's visible? Anteriorly, what is visible? You will find part of the middle tunic, basically this colored portion and the opening. These two are part of the vascular tunic. So you see some of that. This white that you see, that is the outer, or should I say fibrous tunic. Okay, I'll go over the names in a second. Conjunctiva is this fibrous outer tunic. Alternately, the name is sclera. So outer tunic is made of sclera. So I'm going to write FT, fibrous tunic, sclera, and cornea. So we'll go over those in a second. But this white of the eye, this is basically sclera. If I am to place a finger, or let's say a bug, when a bug hits your eye, basically it's not going to hit the sclera directly, but it's going to hit the conjunctiva. So what's coating the sclera, white of the eye, that is the conjunctiva. So this is the outermost layer right here. If I say this layer, which layer is this? This is conjunctiva. FYI, conjunctiva is not just here, but if you flip your eyelids, within the eyelids is also conjunctiva. It's a mucous membrane with a dense connective tissue. Not dense connective tissue, stratified epithelial tissue. So anyway, so the palpebral and ocular, we don't have those. But FYI, if you take this eyelid and flip it, the interior of the eyelid is lined also by conjunctiva. FYI, you call it palpebral. And this conjunctiva, to be more accurate, we call this ocular conjunctiva. Conjunctiva that's covering the white of the sclera is ocular conjunctiva. Keeping this in mind, let's go over the other structures. What can we not see? So we see the eyelash, we see the ocular conjunctiva. Where is the lacrimal gland? Lacrimal sac. Okay, so here is the lacrimal gland. Lacrimal gland. You can place it. Basically what I was drawing here, you are seeing the same thing here. Lacrimal gland. Lacrimal gland produces tears. These tears basically wash the surface of the conjunctiva. So in a regular eye, this is going to be conjunctiva here. And it's drained by the lacrimal sac into, this is where the nasal cavity is. So recall, we learned the lacrimal fossa. Basically, lacrimal fossa is for the lacrimal sac. So tears are produced here. It washes the conjunctiva, anterior surface of the eye, then it drains into the sac. And FYA, this is called, there will be lacrimal duct, so it drains into the nasal cavity. This is why if you cry, your nose will start running. You have a runny nose if you cry. So here, let me erase this. So besides lacrimal gland, what else can we see here? We see the rectus and one of the oblique muscle. So this is the superior rectus. These are for different type of eye movement, skeletal muscles. This is the medial part, this is the lateral part. So medial, lateral. So this is basically your right eye. This is the lateral rectus. You also see this muscle that's going across from the maxillary bone, which is basically attaching to the inferior lateral portion of the eyeball itself. This is inferior oblique. This muscle here is inferior oblique. And do we see the inferior rectus? Yes, we see part of the inferior rectus as well. Right toward the back here, what you see is inferior rectus. How do you know that's inferior rectus and not inferior oblique? Because inferior obliques attaches from the maxillary bone to the lateral side. So basically this is the attachment. Insertion. While the rectus goes all the way from the optic canal to the inferior anterior portion of the eyeball. So this muscle toward the back, what you see this is inferior rectus, not inferior oblique. Oblique is limited to the anterior part. Rectus goes all the way to the exit point of the optic nerve, the optic canal. What else can we see? We can see the two layers of fibrous tunic. So let me go back to this. Outer fibrous tunic. Fibrous tunic is divided into two parts. So fibrous tunic divided into sclera, cornea. So basically, the entire eyeball, the outer part, is made of sclera. It's a dense connective tissue. Anteriorly, sclera is basically opaque. Anteriorly, it's transparent. So what you see covering over is the iris. What's covering over the iris is the cornea, while rest of it is sclera. So this is sclera, the white of the eye. Sclera gives the eye the shape. It's the outer fibrous, meaning it's a rigid, thicker layer. It maintains the shape of the eyeball with the vitreous humor inside. And anteriorly, notice that, anteriorly, here sclera is opaque. Anteriorly, the same fibrous tunic is transparent. This transparent portion is cornea. So sclera is opaque, cornea is transparent. Obviously for passage of light. Moving on to the next image here. Again, what are the things that we can see? Superior rectus, lateral rectus, inferior rectus, and notice this is the insertion. This is the inferior oblique. Starting here, maxillary bone, attaching to the lateral surface of the eyeball. Do we see the medial rectus? Yes. Look here. Right there is the medial rectus. Do we see the superior oblique? Not really. We see the beginning of it, but not really. But we'll be able to see it later. Okay. So again, sclera. Right here you see cornea. All of that is cornea. This space, this is anterior chamber. Okay. And if you can see the sclera here is opaque. It's not shiny. Here the sclera looks shiny. The white looks shiny here. The white doesn't look shiny toward the back. If I erase it, you can actually see that. This looks shiny here. This doesn't look shiny in the back. Why is that? Because this is conjunctiva. Sclera covered with conjunctiva. While in the back, it's just sclera. Anteriorly, sclera covered by conjunctiva. To be more specific, ocular conjunctiva. There are two types of conjunctiva, palpebral, ocular. And then in the back, it's just sclera. Okay, moving on to the next. What can we see here? Same thing. We see superior rectus, lateral rectus, medial rectus, inferior oblique. And here you can see the superior oblique. Yes, muscle. Okay. So rectus, superior rectus, lateral rectus, medial rectus, inferior oblique, superior oblique. We erase that right there, superior oblique. Sclera. Find a bright enough color. Okay, hopefully that should work. Okay. Sclera, just sclera. Here, again, see, not shiny, shiny. This is sclera plus ocular conjunctiva. Here, still the fibrous tunic, cornea, transparent cornea, opaque sclera. Anterior chamber, this space, not the layer. These are all layers I'm talking about. This space is anterior chamber, which is filled with aqueous, forgetting the spelling, aqueous humor. Okay. What else do we see here? We see this is the iris. This is the pupil. We don't forget, we still see the lacrimal sac. We see all of these structures. So pupil is an opening through which light passes. Iris is an extension of the vascular tunic. So this is no longer fibrous tunic. Iris is this. Iris is part of vascular tunic. Moving on, lacrimal gland. Again, you can identify the rectus. I'm assuming this is, well, you can see the lacrimal gland. So this is the right eye. So lateral rectus, superior rectus. This is inferior rectus. How do you know? You can see the direction of the muscle. Sclera. So this is all opaque. So this is sclera. This is the shiny part is cornea. What's behind the cornea is the iris and pupil. You can kind of see the pupil. But you can see that how it's the shiny glassy thing is the cornea. All right, same thing again. Cornea, sclera. I'm not going to go over the muscles because I'll expect that you know the muscles already. I'm assuming this is still the right eye. Lateral rectus, superior rectus, inferior rectus, cornea. Behind the cornea, you see the iris and the pupil. And also this chamber right behind is the anterior chamber. So the space within is anterior chamber. Now you see the 3 layers. So this is sclera. Right there you see the middle vascular tunic. The vascular tunic, when it's basically part of the most of the eyeball throughout it, you call it choroid. And the inner neural tunic. The inner neural tunic is light orange. This is what you call retina. Oftentimes the neural tunic and retina are interchangeable because neural tunic doesn't really give rise to a whole lot of structures. It's just basically retina and the ora serrata. Choroid, vascular tunic is more than choroid. Iris is part of choroid. Pupil is part of choroid. Ciliary body is part of choroid. Not choroid, but vascular tunic. Iris is vascular tunic. Pupil is vascular tunic. Ciliary body is vascular tunic, which is why vascular tunic has more parts. So you need to name them by each part. The vascular tunic, that part of vascular tunic, that's main wall of the eyeball, you call it choroid. Okay. Same thing. Choroid, retina, sclera, cornea, pupil. Behind the pupil is iris. And you can see the rectus muscles. Superior rectus, medial rectus, lateral rectus, inferior rectus. Most of these models are the right eye, so that's what I'm going by. All right. So once again, looking at the repression, the lacrimal fossa, this is still the right eye. So you see the entire eyeball here made of sclera. This is the whole eyeball. Basically, maybe up to here is the anterior chamber. All of this is the posterior chamber. So again, you see the medial rectus, superior rectus, you see inferior rectus, and behind the eye posteriorly, this is the optic nerve. Optic nerve basically is exiting from the eye or eyeball, so to speak. Right there, this is where it's exiting from, posteriorly. Okay, well, better idea about where the lens is. The lens is not part of the 3 tunic. The lens, like I said, it sits anterior to the much of the choroid and posterior to the iris. So here what you see, this is taken away or removed, extracted. This is the lens. Basically, this is the lens. Still sees, keep changing color so that you guys can see. So sclera, I'm not going to go over the rectus and oblique. This is inferior, inferior oblique. This is the lateral rectus. So here you can see sclera, you can see choroid. That red layer is the choroid. Notice how the choroid is extending anteriorly all the way and then giving rise to the iris. So iris is the anterior part of the choroid. Okay. And this space right there, this is like a fold behind the iris. That's where the lens sits. This is where the lens sits. So the entire chamber that you see, what they are showing here by this plastic ball, all of this is the posterior chamber. All of this is the posterior chamber, which is filled with vitreous humor, a gel-like substance that keeps the eyeball inflated. So this plastic ball they are showing, basically they're showing the vitreous humor. This is vitreous humor. And so if the lens is placed back, the lens will sit here like this. And behind the lens is the posterior chamber. Anterior to the lens is the anterior chamber. Lens is kind of in alignment with the iris. Immediately behind the iris, immediately posterior to the iris, is the space for the lens. And I'm just going to go over this now, but see all these projections that you are seeing posteriorly. Basically, this is where the ciliary body will be. I'll go over that in a second. Again, sclera, choroid. Then you see the lateral rectus, inferior oblique, optic nerve. This is basically to show you the sclera and the choroid. Okay, now let's say we cut a section through this eye. Cut a section. And we are looking at that section. So they show you the same thing. Here, rectus, oblique, etc. Lateral rectus, superior oblique, inferior oblique, inferior rectus. You can see that inferior rectus, inferior oblique here. Okay, lacrimal sac. So once again, cornea, sclera. This red, this is the choroid. And they show the posterior chamber filled with vitreous humor, optic nerve. So as if you're looking at the interior of the section of the eye. So cut a section through the eye. What are we seeing? We are seeing again sclera. This white is sclera. And we are seeing the inner retina. This is retina. The choroid, we looked at this choroid. This choroid, basically, when it toward the anterior end, right there. So, this is basically this circle. Change the color. This circle here, I'll erase it, and you can see it again. This circle, see that? This circle right here, this is the iris. Okay, to the edge, toward the edge, this is where you will find the ciliary body, which is made of the ciliary muscle plus, I don't have it in your list, ciliary process, because we can't really see it. So this serrated, look at that, this serrated edge, this is all choroid. All of that is choroid. This is why I was saying that vascular tunic is more than just choroid. The ciliary body is vascular tunic. Iris is vascular tunic. So this vascular tunic gives rise to this serrated edge. All of this is the vascular tunic. All of that is basically projection of the choroid. So this vascular tunic, or alternately choroid, the layer itself, gives rise to this serrated edge right there. This is where retina ends and choroid keeps going. So basically choroid from here all the way so you can see that brown line, that's all choroid. I'm tracing it right there all the way anteriorly here. Retina stops here, choroid continues. Okay, this serrated edge, this is known as ora serrata. This serrated edge right there, ora serrata. Ora serrata is a junction between retina and choroid. It's a mixture of the retinal tissue and choroid tissue. Okay. So same thing, we are looking at the same thing. Okay. Starting with, this is retina, this is choroid, serrated edge right there, ora serrata. This is not on your list, but it's good to know. Okay. So here, right here, iris, sclera, and this red line here, all of that, that's still choroid. Okay. This opening right there, this is where the optic nerve exits. So this is known as this meeting point, or at the point from which optic nerve exits the eyeball. This is known as optic disc. Okay, optic disc. This optic disc, so basically this is the pupil, right? When light falls through the pupil. No, not like that. When light falls through the pupil. If you arbitrarily draw a straight line, the light actually hits here. And of course it gets reflected. But this is one place, this optic disc, light does not fall here. Light does not penetrate through this, which is why optic disc is often known as blind spot. No vision here. If light falls here, 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 it's basically received and converted into electrical signal, but light does not fall here. This is one area where light does not penetrate. So this is the blind spot. Optic disc is also the blind spot. Let's turn this, and we are looking at slightly separate perspective. Same thing. Sclera, iris, retina, you can see right there, this optic disc. You can see the optic nerve. This space is the posterior chamber. This entire space is posterior chamber and is filled with, as we have learned before, vitreous humor. Oh, and this is the, let's not forget this. This is the pupil, the opening pupil, or darker right there. Half of the pupil. Okay, so if we draw a straight line through the pupil, what we saw before, right here, where light falls directly in a straight line, this is the spot where there's the highest visual acuity, meaning it's the best image that's produced here, because it's in straight line, is along the what we call the visual axis or axis of the eye. Light directly falls on this spot here. You see this spot right there. This spot where light directly falls, we call that macula lutea. And the center of that, this black thing, is the center of the macula lutea, call that fovea. Its full name is slightly longer than just fovea, but we are basically keeping it as fovea. Macula lutea and fovea. Okay, let's look at the next one. I think we are almost done. Right here. Ciliary body, ciliary muscle. I often get that question. So this is basically the same thing. This is tilted. It's tilted and we are looking at it. So once again, what do we see? Of course, we see the retina. This black, this here, and here too. That is the choroid. This white external to the choroid. Sclera. Actually, all of that. This whole thing is sclera. Sclera. So you can see the ora serrata. See that? The choroid extends into, you can see that, how the choroid extends into ora serrata. The serrated edge. This space here, this is the space for the lens. Lens sits here. Lens sits here. Okay. So choroid gives rise to various structures to hold the lens in place. Now you can also, right there, all of that. This is the iris. Okay. So if the lens is here, I'm just going to draw. This is the lens. This is where the lens sits. Notice that what holds the lens in place, these ligaments. We have something darker. These ligaments right there, there, here, here, here. See that? These ligaments. The ligaments that hold the lens in place, like these ligaments and these ligaments, we refer to those as suspensory ligaments. Okay, suspensory ligaments. Along with the suspensory ligaments, what else do we see here? We see the ciliary body. So ciliary body, let me erase the suspensory ligament, the lens and everything else. Which one is the ciliary body? Basically, look at this. All of this and this, all of that. This is what we call ciliary body. You know what? Earlier, I think I spelled ciliary with double L. Ciliary body. Much of that ciliary body. Basically, what is ciliary body is made of ciliary muscle and ciliary process. So ciliary body is made of ciliary muscle and ciliary process. So all of this is ciliary body. This is a reddish portion. This reddish portion, which definitely looks like muscle tissue. Or actually, let me draw it here, this way. I have more writing space here. So right there, all of that. Ciliary body. Ciliary body is made of ciliary muscle, which are this red structure that very much looks like muscle. Ciliary muscle. And the other part of the ciliary body is this edges. See the wavy edges? These wavy edges, see that? If I erase this here, you can see that the suspensory ligament is attached to these wavy edges. Here's the suspensory ligament. It's attached to these wavy edges. Suspensory ligament attaching to these wavy edges. These wavy edges are called ciliary process, where suspensory ligament attaches to. Okay. So some of these may not be on the list, but it's good to know. So when we say ciliary body, we are talking about ciliary body is ciliary muscle and ciliary process. All of that is ciliary body. So the whole thing here is, as you can see, whole thing is ciliary body with the muscle and process. Process is what suspensory ligament attaches to. That's pretty much the whole eye anatomy. Okay.